4 or 5 months ago, this band popped up out of nowhere. And I assume most of the people who were tuned into the Solid Sound podcast have heard of Neon Oni, whether
we have talked about them before.
Yeah. So when they first dropped, everyone, and I mean fucking everybody who heard their music was like, well, this is clearly AI vocals. Like maybe the session musicians are real, but the vocals were very AI. And it was super skeptical. They were like deleting comments on their YouTube video that was calling them out. They were like being kind of sketchy with the music videos they were releasing. Didn't really look very realistic
and they weren't showing the artists like for longer than a couple seconds in each video.
Yeah.
If you've ever used AI before, basically they give you like a 6-second timer. Now it's 10 seconds on Grok, but they give you like 6 seconds to make something look realistic. And if a video only lasts 6 seconds, you can assume it's probably AI at this point.
Yeah.
Or a Vine from 15 years ago.
Well, they did live performances. They performed live, I think, a couple in December, but they also did some in January. And I know a lot of the guys who were at the Baby Metal show with me in Saitama went to the Neon Oni. So the Neon Oni guy, like creator of the band, was at the Baby Metal show, like handing out flyers saying like, hey, come to my show. And I know John went, and I think John actually met with the band. So I'm sure he's going to release something like an interview. And I think he has some behind the scenes info that he'll share whenever he drops that. But they've now started dropping music videos of live performances. And the most recent one was from Give Me Gachapon, the song. And the thumbnail alone just looks like straight AI, and that's just not good for the brand. That's just not good for what they're trying to portray.
Now, to be fair, we have used AI in our thumbnails. I don't want to fucking bullshit this, but
never use AI ever.
Use AI to make the logo for this?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
We didn't. AI,
you know, I really thought I was starting
used.
to pick up on what was AI and what was not, but since you guys just said it wasn't, I guess I don't know anymore.
We would never do such thing.
It doesn't fucking matter. So put on a real picture of your fucking band.
I gotta say this: genius marketing. This is perfect. This was part of the plan. I really do. Yeah. I think they created all the music AI, and then they're like, we're going to try to trick everyone, bring in real artists to cover the own AI music, and then just throw us all off. That's what I think's going on.
Yeah, but it might be. But what's going to happen when they play live and people watch the live videos and they don't sound the same as the music videos?
We have it.
People are saying what I'm saying, which is, yeah, they definitely don't sound like the live, but they also don't sound bad. The people who are at the show, I think the capture of the live footage that we're seeing on YouTube, it's not the best quality. But people who were at the show, like there's people in my Discord who were there at the Neon Oni show, and they said they sounded pretty fucking good. They were like, they sounded really good live.
Does that matter?
They may not be the same. How different is it from a band? I'm asking Alan first. How different is it from a band using a different session recording band versus a live performing band? Right? Like Baby Metal, like the guys who were playing the drums and the guitars on the track for White Flame on the album, probably not the same people who are actually performing live, right? Like, we all know that. So how is it that different?
It isn't, and I agree.
Except that it's AI vocals, which I guess you could say is
the AI vocals is a stretch. That's a new one, right? But if you think about it, the same thing with pop stars, right? I mean, they have all those writers that write all the music for them, and then they go and recreate it with other musicians. So this is just the same thing, just in a weird way. They're doing AI.
Except that somebody wrote the music in that situation. And in this situation, the music was written by a computer program.
Baby Metal drums.
They had to type it in. They had to type the prompt, champ.
Shit. He had to type 5 sentences with commas.
Hey, Baby Metal's drums were all programmed in the first album. So, I mean... There's that.
And you've never heard me.
Metal didn't even have a band. They had the Baby Bones. They had Baby Bones. They didn't even have musicians on stage with them, and people still lost their mind and thought it was the coolest thing.
But what did you hear on the music video, and then what did you hear live? You heard Sue and the others singing on the music video, and Sue and the others singing live.
Yeah, but it was a track for the music.
It's the same. I agree with you.
Vehicle.
I mean, it's a different vehicle, same concept. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could argue that it's still bullshit because AI is just taking a bunch of artists collectively and then they're spitting it out. But you can also say that's what most musicians do too, right? We're just a collective of everything that we listened to before and then we write songs. So we're AI at the same time. I mean, it depends on how you want to look at it. If you want to be a miserable prick, you could do what Champ does.
Alan, you actually made a good point there. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but you made a good point of like all of music for history is just following a trend, right? Like whether it's your own ears or it's what you're hearing, like what's popular, all music is just following a trend. Because trends are developed by what's popular, what works, what you're seeing other bands like.
When people listen to the music that I write, they'll be like, I hear, oh my God, I've heard so many things. Like I hear Ozzy, I hear Jimmy, I hear Death, I hear this. I'm like, yeah, because that's all the music I fed my brain up until this point in time. And you could argue that's what, depending on what you train the AI model on, it's just a faster recreation of a human experience doing that. But I know, Champ, you're going to say like, it's still human. So I guess it,
I'm just going to ask you guys a question.
What?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, we all like Bandmade in this room, right?
All right.
Okay.
Like
so they've been around for almost 15 years, as we're going to talk about a little later in the podcast. What if you found out right now that Konami had actually not written any of the tracks, and she had been asking a computer program to write the tracks, and everything that Bandmade has written for the last 10 years was not actually from the talented band members who wrote it. They just took it from a computer program and played it live. Would you still feel the same about Bandmade? Not their songs, but the amount of respect and appreciation that you have for the band in general and their talent. Would it change?
So first off, Konami does use a program to put in all her stuff to make sure that it sounds good.
That is not the same as her not picking up a guitar. She picks up a guitar and she writes the riff.
I know. I don't know.
I think the difference here is the band originated this way versus finding out later, because then it feels like we were betrayed and lied to. I don't think Neon Oni has tried to hide.
I feel like you started the conversation by saying that they were hiding it, though. This is one of the biggest issues with this. Like, if they came out right off the bat and said, hey guys, this is AI, I would just not listen to it and not care. But the fact that they try to market it as real and then delete comments and stuff like that, that is where it really fucks with me, where I'm like, no, dude, you're fucking lying to me now. Like, I can't ever respect you as a musician.
I guess it depends.
I guess what I meant is like they were so obvious with it that it seems like it was just, come on.
So they're bad at lying about it? That doesn't give me any more respect for them, honestly.
I don't know if I would like completely, maybe I wouldn't love them as much, but I would still enjoy it because the fact that they can pull it off and play it, and they're always going to have their own flavor of playing it.
Yeah, you appreciate their musical talent on stage.
Exactly, because you still have to pull it off, either way. And these musicians that recreated this live, they still had to pull it off, and they had made a good feel of it. I'm not sure how good they sounded live, but if you're one of those people that saw it, let us know. I would be curious to know if you like this better than what you heard in the recording, because that's probably what's going to happen. Because a lot of us, even like produced band-made songs that are out on the internet, right? The music video, we all like the live version better. So that's what's going to happen, is that I think with all this AI crap, we're all going to gravitate towards just watching all these bands live. We're going to want to see it live. Even if they're recreating stuff that was AI written, we're just going to want to see it live. We're going to cherish the live experience so much more. That is optimistic me.
Last thing I'll say on it from my perspective is I agree with you, Champ. It would definitely make me feel a little bit different with like Bandmade specifically, because they've been around so long, and kind of the reason I think that people pride themselves on loving Bandmade is their authentic talent, and that the fact that they do everything themselves. They are their band. They do write it. They perform it. But there's just also to counter that, there's so many really, really talented artists that I like and will always like, that have probably never written one of their own lyrics before. Like there's a lot of people who have ghostwriters, and that's never once made me think, oh, this person isn't talented. It's like, you might have a beautiful singing voice and be able to perform amazing on guitar, but you just might not have the creativity in that part of your brain to like lyrically write something, but you can perform it really well. Baby Metal's a great example. Like, I hate to always bring it to Baby Metal, but like they didn't really write any of their songs until super recently when they started getting some writing credits. Like, I think Sue is the only one that has any writing credits, and they have like 80 plus songs.
So that's what happens in bands. It's the same thing. I write parts for the band members a lot of the times when it comes to drums or bass lines, and sometimes they take those things I wrote for them and develop it into something more. So that happens all the time in bands. Or there's some bands where there's more creative people, which sometimes ends up being more of a headache. because then you have a lot of
flashing.
but you get a lot of flashing.
But it's all the parts, right? Like she writes.
Yeah.
I think she does.
When they say that she writes the parts, I mean, she puts down what it's supposed to sound like, but each of the members definitely like alter it to what they are. But listen, here's my argument against what you're saying right there. Like, look at the pop groups, right? Like the K-pop groups and the J-pop groups and stuff like that. They don't mostly write their own music either. Those people that we're seeing performing on stage, right? But behind the scenes, they have a production team. They have a writing team. They have an editing team. Usually it's just one person that's like featured in those roles. But like, that's how it is. To me, those people are part of their team, right? So like you take a group like Blackpink, BTS, XG, whatever. Let's go with XG because we're going to talk about them in a little bit. Take a group like XG. They've got a main writer. They've got a main editor. They've got a main producer. These people are all part of the XG team to me. And I respect them for what they're doing there also. With the AI stuff, you're pretty much cutting out that stuff and you're allowing for the AI to create all that stuff. And then the performers go out and perform whatever the AI created. So I understand the idea of like, okay, they didn't write their music, so it doesn't really matter to me. But to me, it's like their team wrote the music and their team is part of them. So like that still matters to me. The Baby Metal team wrote those songs, not an AI generated program. And I want to respect the Baby Metal team as a whole, not just the girls on stage.
I thought XG was all AI.
What?
What?
That would be so fucking wild, bro. I would lose. If I found out that they were all AI, I would just give up on music.
Check out the full podcast right here and join our members if you want to support us further. Also, you get to call in on our podcast if you are a member, so you can tell us how full of shit we are. All right, see you all in the next one. See you.